وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. Alhamdulillah, last week we gave an introduction to a book, to an excellent book that I found. In fact, it's probably one of the best finds that I found in this whole year. That's why I labeled the video with that, the best book that I found in 2026. So that was an amazing book, and that's a book that summarizes years and years and years of a normal classical student, like a student of Talibul Ilm, that goes in search for knowledge and stays inside a university, Islamic university for years and years upon end. This is literally the summary and the crux of all of that. So all the rights, all the adabs, all the etiquettes and mannerisms in every single aspect of human life, okay? Because when you say Muslim life, a person, because his scope of understanding in ilm, in knowledge and deen, he thinks only deen is limited to worship. Deen is limited to dua, salah, sadaqah, zakah and hajj. That's it. No. He goes through all the aspects, and I went through a couple of the chapters that he goes through. Today, alhamdulillah, this week I went to Darul Uloom, Blackburn. Darul Uloom, Blackburn. It's one of the most prestigious Darul Ulooms that exist on the face of the United Kingdom. Okay? Darul Uloom, Blackburn. It's called Jami'atul Ilm wal Huda. Jami'atul Ilm wal Huda. The University of Knowledge and Guidance. And mashallah, I was lucky enough to go and meet inside the office. The first person that I came across inside the office was Maulana Muawiyah, or Mufti Muawiyah. The person who is the son of the founder. Mufti Abdul Samad is the founder. He's a very senior, one of the, in fact, many of our ulama, they say he is the Mufti of the whole of Europe. Okay? So he's of a great caliber, mashallah. And his websites we've been using for so many years now. And we've been sharing on all our groups and all our chats, alhamdulillah, for all the ulama and tullabul ilm to benefit. So, alhamdulillah, I was pleased to meet such a person, his son. So his son is Maulana Muawiyah, or Mufti Muawiyah. He, mashallah, he's the one that makes up the whole syllabus for the whole madrasa, for the whole 7-year or 8-year system, 6, 7, 8 years, depending on. So if you're doing your GCSEs, I think it goes up to 8 years. And if you're doing it after 16, then it's 6 years. Something like that, because after 16, you're doing full time, isn't it? So there's a slight difference there. But Allahu Alam, I don't know of the exact amount of years, but I'm sure it's a proper Darul Uloom, and they have the full Darsan Nizami system, just like we have in Dewsbury, Bury, and South Africa, and everywhere else in the world, in New York and many other places. But mashallah, I went inside. So he took me they don't really have a bookshop, okay, per se. So he, alhamdulillah, he's written a book like these books. Subhanallah, look at this. Look at the quality of this print. We would have been so amazed and so happy to study like this if we had the opportunity to study like this. You guys, you have books like these in this day and age, and you don't want to study Deen. Allahu Akbar. We studied in Indian prints. The prints that you could barely read the Arabic. Is as if you're reading Urdu or something. You couldn't join the letters because it was so confusing. Allahu Akbar. And you have prints like these. Allahu Akbar. Look at this. Subhanallah. Look at this. Look at this. Allahu Akbar. So this is absolutely phenomenal. Like the works that he's done so many works, especially in the Arabic language. Anyone wants to learn the Arabic language, his books are the first to go to. He's got Qasasun Nabiyyin, something that we do in all the Darul Ulooms all over the whole of UK and everywhere else. Every Darul Uloom that you go to, you study Qasasun Nabiyyin. These are to do with stories of the prophets. Abul Hasan al-Nadwi, one of the greatest scholars in India, one of the most prominent scholars in India that was known to the Arabs. So after he passed away, even the Arabs prayed Salatul Janaza. Al Ghaib. Imagine. Even in Makkah, Medina, they prayed Salatul Janaza al Ghaib for Sheikh Abul Hasan al Nadwi. So the influence that he had, Darul Nadwa was his Darul Uloom that he came up with. Darul Nadwa is a very established Darul Uloom, very well known Darul Uloom. Darul Uloom well known for Arabic language and its sciences. So poetry, depth of the languages, like adab, adab, like literature, Arabic literature, something which is really deep, very deep, very hard as well. It's a very hard subject. And unless you love that subject, you won't go further. Okay, even in English. Remember when we done GCSEs, it's not easy. English literature is hard. So likewise, Arabic literature is also difficult. But mashallah, Dr. Sheikh Abul Hassan al-Nadwi, he wrote this book for students of knowledge to slowly grasp the Arabic language in a very, so he goes with very easy, then he goes slightly harder, then he goes slightly harder, then he goes slightly harder, then he goes to advanced levels. Okay? So there's like 5 parts. 4 parts we normally do in the first year, and second part, which is to do with seerah, not to do with the prophets, that we do in the second year normally. Most Darul Ulooms do this. So he basically, what he's done, he's taken the whole text, translated it word for word, and he's got all the hard words inside tables, and at the same time he's got notes, so more notes upon notes. Because the stories of the prophets, that wasn't meant to be a book for learning per se. It was just to pick up Arabic slowly through Islamic literature, okay? Through good morals and good lessons. So Maulana Muawiyah, what he done is just absolutely phenomenal. He put all the hard words in one place, in a whole table, in a chart form, and he put all the extra grammatical breakdowns. Also, he explained them in bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per page. Subhanallah, he done that for all the 5 parts of Qasasul Nabiyyin. It's in 2 big volumes like these. Then there's so many books. Diwan of Imam Shafi'i, the poetry of Imam Shafi'i. Oh, Allahu Akbar. That's one of the amazing books that every student of knowledge should have and should learn. If you want to learn Arabic language, Diwan of Imam Shafi'i is the go-to book. Okay? I remember in South Africa, they used to do it in first year as well. Then he's got Durusul Lugha, the Medina books that everyone tries to learn the Arabic language from. He's got that book broken down into absolute bite size. You see that book and you're like, wow, he's done a phenomenal job with that book. Just like he's done to Qasasul Nabiyyin, likewise he's done to Durusul Lugha or Medina books. We call it Medina books, isn't it? So Medina books, part 1 and part 2 of the original Medina books. So this is not the Medina Reader. You remember the Medina Reader that we done in Tanzil? Not that one. Not that one. So this is Medina, the actual books that they study in Medina University, the first volume and the second volume. The third volume is difficult as it is, so I don't think there's any point of doing the third volume. He might be doing the third volume, Allahu Alam. But the first and second volume are the most important to every single student of knowledge. If you want to learn Durusul Lugha, then buy that copy, that specific copy by Maulana Muawiyah. So the whole is Jamiatul Ilm wal Huda. You can go on the website, Blackburn Darul Uloom, and you'll find it, inshallah. You'll find all the list of books and you can order it. There's many other bookstores that sell it as well, Kitabun and many other bookstores you can find online. Yeah, Islam Shop, many others as well. There's many others, mashallah. So all his books you can get. So he basically created a literal library. I went inside and I was like, wow, subhanallah, you created a literal library, And Mufti Sabi, mashallah, he's a very frank person. He's like our age, he's young. He's probably 1 or 2 years older than me, maybe. 34, 35, 36, somewhere around that age. He looked like a very kind person, mashallah, very pleasing person. He wanted to give me all the books for free. He gave me a whole load like this, all his books. He gave me 1 copy of all his books. I was like, I couldn't take it for free, subhanallah. If it was 1 or 2 books, I can take it. But not the whole section. Allahu Akbar. This costs a lot to print. Look at the prints, subhanallah. These prints are absolutely phenomenal, We used to think of these prints for the Salafi prints only. The Salafis can only produce this. But mashallah, our ulama have now, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed them with wealth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking great khidmah from these. So, this book that I've got in front of me is regarding du'as. So he compiled 500 du'as for students of knowledge to memorize. These are more or less short du'as, not too long. And he gives the translation as well as some commentary for each du'a. Okay, so anyone that's looking for a du'a book, this is definitely going to be one of the best books to go to. And at the back, Allahu Akbar, the notes that he's given at the back. This is something that you go in search for in the Arabic books for years and years. No joke, without any emphasis. I'm not even praising Mufti Sabi here, but that's the amount of effort that it takes. He gave a list here of all the dua books. So he gave approximately, how many references? 35 references. And he says this is a brief, Allahu Akbar. Imagine, this is a brief summary of all the books that the ulama have written throughout history, throughout all of time. And majority of the books, and this is what He's basically went through a couple of these books and he's more or less summarized them and abbreviated them to the best of a student's ability, because a student, his job is to memorize these du'as because he needs to use it day to day and he needs to go and use it and teach other students to carry on the legacy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in day-to-day life. So he mentions 35 reference books. These are huge reference books, the likes of Al-Hisn al-Hasin, which is my favorite dua book. Imam al-Jazari, you know Imam al-Jazari? Imam al-Jazari is the Imam of all the qira'at. Okay, all the qira'at go down to Imam al-Jazari. Or Jazariya, Muqaddimatul Jazariya. That's the one that we had to memorize for our ijazah, to get sanad from our ustads from Syria, or sheikhs from Syria. Subhanallah. So, Imam al-Jazari, he wrote a book called Al-Hisn al-Hasin, and it's one of the most comprehensive books. You know, Mufti Ashiq Ilahi, one of the most prominent scholars of India, he wrote books on du'as again and again. He wrote like 2 or 3 du'a books. He says, there were so many books that I consulted, but I keep going back to Hisn al-Hasin of Imam al-Jazari. So, end of the day, what he done before he passed away, he wrote a commentary upon Hisn al-Hasin. And that commentary was translated in English by one of the Pakistani scholars. Subhanallah, that's an amazing book. That book I have as well. That's a very amazing book. Subhanallah. So if you want a comprehensive, extremely comprehensive book, then that would be the go-to book. But this is comprehensive enough. This, wallahi, is comprehensive enough. This is absolutely amazing. You know, the job that he's done and the way he summarized it and the print. So the thing is, look, you know, as us as humans, we like nice things. Okay, whether it's color-coded, whether it's underlined, whether it's bolded, whether it's italic. That's just how students of knowledge are. You know, when we're humans, we like nice things. It's like a car. It's like a car. When you see a nice car, you know it's a nice car. You'll praise the car automatically. It's something automatic. Okay? Inna Allaha jamilun yuhibbul jamal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beautiful and He loves beauty. You know, He loves beauty. So, us as well, we like beauty. We're attracted to beauty. Okay, I'm not going to give bad examples here. This is not the place. But car is a good example for us as men. Okay, we like cars. When we see a nice car, we know it's a nice car. Likewise, with students of knowledge, they're attracted to good books. When they find new finds and new books, they go crazy for it. And subhanAllah, this is one of them. Okay, when you come from those books that we studied to these books that you are studying in this day and age, Allahu Akbar, you can't complain. You cannot complain at all. So any misunderstandings that you might have in the hadith, he's going to explain it in the brief commentary that he has in 2 or 3 lines, 4 lines. Sometimes he goes a bit more, but generally 2-3 lines. Generally 2-3 lines. Even the hadith, the du'as itself is only 2-3 lines. He's got another book here to do with hadith. So generally what happens is most students, the first book that they actually study in hadith after Zadul Talibin in first year, they study Riyadus Salihin. Now Riyadus Salihin is a book which has lengthy hadiths. Some of the hadiths are very lengthy, like it's pages and upon pages. If you go through the first chapter and the story of وَعَلَى الثَّلَاثَةِ الَّذِينَ خُلِّفُوا, that whole story is like 5-6 pages in Arabic. So you have to go through the English and go through the Arabic side by side and then break down word for word. It's quite difficult, you know. For a student of knowledge, the purpose is at that point in 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, his point at that point is memorization. The more hadiths that you can memorize, the stronger of a student of knowledge you can become. Okay? The stronger of a student of knowledge you can become. So before I go to that book, inshallah, we'll go through that book another day. But this book, the book on supplications, I told you he adds 35 references. And from the references is Hizbul A'zam, is, for example, Hisn al-Hasin, and the earlier books like Imam al-Bayhaqi's books, Imam al-Nasa'i's books, Amalul Yawmi wal Layla, very famous book, okay? Amalul Yawmi wal Layla. And many other books that were written. And he also says that in each and every single hadith book, generally the muhaddithin, so this was just a list of specific books written on dua, okay, on dua. Even Ibn Taymiyyah's Al-Kalim al-Tayyib is there, mentioned there as well. But as a student of knowledge, he says that in hadith books, there's literally no other hadith books that doesn't have a chapter on du'as. chapter on du'as, because du'as is the weapon of a believer. Du'as is so important to a Muslim life that in every instance he is told to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, here in this dua book of more than 500 supplications, so he's here in a compilation of 500 supplications in Arabic with a simplified English translation and a concise explanatory notes. Along with 11 indispensable chapters on invocations. Invocations is du'as. So here, let's go through inshallah. Look at the chapters first. So morning and evening supplications. These supplications that we need on a day-to-day basis. We should be doing after Fajr and after Maghrib, mostly. Okay? Most of us should be doing these du'as. Then he goes on to the chapter. So here it's like a comprehensive chapter of all the du'as in the morning and the evening. And all of it is based upon authentic hadiths. All of it is based upon authentic hadiths from the 6 books. Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud and Nasa'i. He literally summarized whatever he could inside this kitab in the best print possible. Next, he goes through the chapter on sleep-related supplications. Sleep-related supplications. Anything which is related to sleep, he will give all the du'as related to that. Then the next chapter, ablution, salah, and masjid supplications. So in the 3rd chapter, he'll give all these du'as to do with wudu, before wudu, during wudu, after wudu, salah, before salah, after salah, and then masjid supplications. Whenever you're entering the masjid, whenever you're exiting the masjid. Okay? Allahumma aftah li abwaaba rahmatika. And then many others that we don't normally remember. Okay? This is why you buy a book on du'as. Okay? Especially a book like this, inshallah. Or try to order a book like this. Then, number 4, fasting and Eid supplications. When Eid is cited, you make supplications. When fasting, before starting fast, after finishing at the time of iftar, all those du'as he's going to discuss there in a summarized form. Number 5, at the time of food and drink. Food and drink we eat every single day. We drink every single day. But do we remember to do the du'as? Do we even know the du'as? That's the first thing. Alhamdulillahi alladhi wa razaqanihi min ghayri hawlin minni wa la quwwa. Alhamdulillahi alladhi at'amanihi wa saqanihi wa ja'alani min al-muslimin. And many other du'as with different variations. In the du'as of Rasulullah, there's so many different variations. Allahu Akbar. So it's nice to learn different ones. It's not necessary to do all of them at once. Okay, it's not necessary to do all of them at once, but Rasulullah made different supplications at different times. That's why different Sahabas reported different narrations with different wordings. Okay, so Rasulullah, because the whole purpose of the Sahaba were to keep every single sunnah alive. Every single sunnah alive. So this is why Sahaba are Sahaba. They clinged on to every single bit of advice that they learned from Rasulullah. Every single bit of advice that they learned from Rasulullah. So all the du'as regarding food and drink, all the du'as regarding Hajj and Umrah. When you go Hajj and Umrah, there's many supplications. Safa, Marwa, at the time of Tawaf, in Mina, in Muzdalifah, in Arafah, many du'as. Okay? All of these du'as are here inside this book. Then we have marriage-related du'as and family life supplications. A person, if he doesn't know the dua before, even intimacy is the ibadah in deen. It's ibadah. Many people think of it but the thing is, it's ibadah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the lawful way. So, when you make the dua before going into intimacy, you will be rewarded for that whole action. So, all the du'as for intimacy, marriage-related du'as. There's even a dua after you get married on the first night. You know that? It comes in here. SubhanAllah. You hold the forehead of your wife and you make this dua. This is the sunnah. We're leaving out so many sunnahs in our life. How will we know sunnah if these ulama don't produce books like this? Because the thing is, all the books, yeah, they're there. Shaykh Mullah Ali Qari done it, Ibn al-Jazari done it, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani done it, this person done it, that person. Imam Suyuti's got so many books on du'as. But who's opening these books? There. But here, when it's in English, when it's in your own language and it's simplified and it's got some commentary and it's in one line and it's full of bold and full of italics and full of headings and subheadings, what's going to happen? You're going to be automatically interested in the book. isn't it? So, mashallah, this Mufti is doing a great job. Mufti Muawiyah, Allah bless him again and again. So, all the du'as related to, then he goes on to, so family life regarding children as well. Many du'as, especially children, when they get ill, what happens to us? Can we be normal? We're not normal. Our everything is upside down. We become uneasy. Eh? Why? Because my child is ill, temperature is not coming down. What shall I do? Shall I take her to the A&E or what? Isn't it? Eh? You're always worried. So likewise, all those du'as as well related to nadar, evil eye. Evil eye is very true. Even from the parents you can get evil eye. Okay, the parents will say, oh, so beautiful, mashallah. You know, when they don't say mashallah, Allahumma barik and that stuff, then automatically a bad eye falls on the child. Okay, even from the parents. So it's always necessary that you read Ayatul Kursi, that you read your 4 quls, that you read Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas all the time, that you read Ayatul Kursi, that you read Surah Yasin if you can, and many other verses like at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, Amana Rasulu bima unzila ilayhi min rabbihi wal mu'minun, from the end of the Baqarah, and many other du'as that are related to evil, nazar, ayn. Okay, then he goes on to the du'as related to illness and death. Illness and death. All the du'as related to illness and death. Then he goes through travel supplications. Dua when a person sets to travel. Then he goes on to weather and nature related supplications. Okay? Weather and nature related supplications. Allahumma hawalayna wa la alayna. We done that in Maktab, isn't it, Naeem? Allahumma hawalayna wa la alayna. Remember in Medina when there was a time, basically there was no rain for months and months. So the sheep were dying, the livestock were dying, the chickens were dying, there's no water. What's going to happen? Agriculture is dying, everything's dried up. No crops, no fruits, no vegetations. What's going to happen? Everyone's going to pass away. It's the middle of a desert. So a Sahabi comes and he tells Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that make dua to give rain. So Rasulullah made dua. Now the rain, when it came pouring all over the whole of Medina. Everything's getting flooded now. So much rain. Allahu Akbar. Then the Sahabi comes back to Rasulullah and says, Ya Rasulullah, make dua that the rain go away. So Rasulullah made this dua, Allahumma hawalayna wa la alayna. Okay, oh Allah, make the rain go around us, not upon us. Okay, not upon us. Allahumma ala al-akami wal-ajami wal-dhirabi wal-awdiyati wa manabiti shajar. The whole dua. And there's many other du'as, so many du'as, subhanallah. And all of these are from the sunnah of Rasulullah, from the wording of actual love, al-fadh of Rasulullah. Now this is the beauty of Rasulullah. You know, one is that you find a du'a that is made up by a sheikh of haram, sheikh of this, sheikh of that, sheikh of azhar. MashaAllah, it's good. You know, sheikh done the du'a, he's got a nice du'a, he's rhyming, it's sounding very nice. MashaAllah. Another thing is, it's directly from the mouth with the exact words of Rasulullah transmitted by the Sahaba, by the Tabi'een, by the Atba'u Tabi'een, and registered by the Muhaddithin, registered by Imam al-Bukhari, Imam al-Tirmidhi, Imam al-Nasa'i, is registered by them for us to learn. So, weather-related and nature-related supplications. Then number 11, the chapter 11, he discusses daily routine supplications. Daily routine, like a wird. You know, wirdun nabawi, this is wirdun nabawi. Okay? You know, we want to have a wird. Every single day you want to do something at least. That something is there. Okay? From Rasulullah directly. Number 12, he goes through anxiety and stress-related supplications, because this is what we are in problems with. As a student of knowledge, Allahu Akbar, the days and nights that we went through, especially when it came to exam time, oh, it felt like ripping our hair off. Our hair was falling off. Literally, our hair was falling off. Allahu Akbar. It's tough. It's very tough. Imagine preparing for one subject, 10 juz. 10 juz and all the hard words that are inside that 10 juz. That's how it was. End of year exam was like that. End of year exam in third year, fourth year is like that. 10 juz, 10 juz. In second year is a bit less, but in fourth year is more. You're doing like approximately 14 juz. So at the end of the year, they examine you for the whole Quran translation that you done in that whole year. So in second year, we only done like 7 juz. 7 juz of translation. Now, what do we mean by 7 juz of translation? It's not opening the translation and reading it like this. No, 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 no. You know the Arabic language in the first year, and the second year you're doing Arabic language subjects. So in the second year, when they're doing Quran tarjama, they are literally breaking down every single word according to Arabic grammar. You understand? That's called Quran tarjama, not Quran translation as we understand it. That's why you become an alim. An alim is different to a normal person. A normal person can read the tafsir for Allah's sake. He can read it for the rest of his life. It won't make a difference. An alim is an alim because he understands Arabic grammar in detail. He understands balagha, he understands nahu, and he understands sarf and ishtiqaq, ilmul ishtiqaq. So here, anxiety and stress related, and this happens especially when you're a student of knowledge, in any subject, okay? When you go through university, you understand the level of mental stress. Afterwards, in family life, like now with us, we go through different stresses. Our bill is coming, water bill is here. Next one, the electricity bill is coming next month. It's already cut from your direct debit. Next, we're thinking of rent. Rent is another 1,000 to 1,000 pounds, depending on where you're living and what you're doing. Then next is all your expenses, family expenses, home expenses, wife expenses, mother expenses, children-related expenses, everything. You got so many. Then you have to have a holiday as well, once a year, or once in 2 years, isn't it? All those expenses that you put together, the stress keeps on building and building and building and building. So there's du'as for stress-related, and this is the best remedy. This is the best remedy for us. Number 13, the chapter 13, he has all the du'as relating to seeking protection, supplication. Seeking protection, supplication, just like we mentioned, the evil eye, and many other du'as. All to do with taking away evil, taking away and staying away and protecting. For example, in du'as, we say, Allahumma mahfadna min al-fitan ma dhahara minha ma batan. That's also from the du'as of sunnah, masnoon du'as. Allahumma mahfadna min al-fitan ma dhahara minha ma batan. That's a very famous sunnah du'a. Like that, many other du'as for protection, specifically for protection, daily protection. Number 14, he goes through the chapter of seeking forgiveness, mercy, displaying praise and gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and general supplications. And number 15, chapter 15, he mentions all the Quranic du'as. All the du'as in the Quran. Allahu Akbar. So this is al-jami', jami'ud du'a. This is literally like a comprehensive collection of du'as that you will go through books after books after books. You won't find this many du'as and you won't find this much level of comprehensiveness, especially as a student of knowledge. And as I told you, eyes is important. The print is important sometimes because we are humans. We like beauty. We like beautiful prints. We like good prints. Then he goes on through other chapters at the end of the book, which is the most important chapters. Famous dua collections. He goes through 35 different from the Tabi'een's time right until our time, right until Mullah Ali Qari's time, okay, which is 200 years ago. So, whole 1200 years of dua books, okay. He mentions 35 dua books, specific dua books in Arabic. Some of them are translated, some of them are not translated. Virtues of dhikr and supplications. Virtues meaning rewards for dhikr, making different dhikrs and different du'as. Types of dhikr, the different types of dhikr that are there. Etiquettes of supplications, manners, etiquettes, rights of supplications. Time and place for supplications. He goes through many. He goes through like 25 or 30 different places and times for supplications to be accepted. Reasons for supplications not being accepted. Okay, many a times we make dua, but we don't look at other factors. Why is my dua not getting accepted? So he gives those factors as well. And then he has another chapter on salutations upon salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he goes through the special dua of Rasulullah. This is most probably Ismul A'zam, like we always say, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika nastaghith, isn't it? Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, these two names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is from Ayatul Kursi. Most likely this is the Ismul A'zam, and there's many other narrations to Ismul A'zam as well. Abundant istighfar of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the different wordings that Rasulullah had with istighfar. He puts it there, inshallah. Names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the 99 names of Allah, the famous, and greatest name of Allah, the Ismullah al-A'zam. That's what he ends the book off with. So inshallah, those who have the opportunity, Jamiatul Ilm wal Huda, Blackburn, Darul Uloom. If you just put Blackburn Darul Uloom, it'll come up. Jamiatul Ilm wal Huda on Google, and the website will come up, and you can order these books. These are for a student of knowledge. This I cannot praise enough. You will not get these books. I've never seen any books. I've gone through thousands and thousands of books, probably hundreds of different syllabuses around the world. Very few people can come up with these books like this, in this form, in this format, that's applicable to us, okay, applicable to students of knowledge and simplified, okay. We don't want to go through too much technicalities. That's for the ulama. We leave that for the high-ranking ulama. Jazakumullahu khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.